I spoke of Jerusalem University College, and I talked about my education beginning there. The fact that I drank from such rich well springs like Chaim Rabin, like Hal Ronning, Jim Monson, Anson Rainey, these people that taught me, Yeshayahu Gafni, these guys that taught me this stuff that I'm now able to apply to the richness of God's Word. I so appreciate that part of my Jerusalem experience. In fact, I give thanks to God for guiding and directing me and my young family to sell everything that we had except the beat-up old Volkswagen Beetle, the old kind of Beetle, not the newer ones. And we strapped the college trunks on the front bumper and the back bumper, and we drove until we got to my parents' house, who then took us to JFK to fly to Israel. And we had everything that we were able to bring in those 2 college trunks. And when we moved to Israel, we went as a family. We had that vision, that burden from the Lord. And I wasn't going to go on my own. We'd only been married a few years. We had a young son who was 2 years old. He turned 3 while we were there. Just a little boy, a precious little blonde-haired boy. And but we had the call of God on our hearts. And my wife was so much a part of this experience. We lived in the valley of Rephaim. That's where I had to walk from there to Jerusalem University College each day, usually carrying a pillowcase full of dirty laundry over one shoulder and then a bag full of books on the other shoulder. And sometimes I would walk in the middle of the night. I would get to Jerusalem University College way before the dawn broke. I remember Dr. George Jacomakis, who was the president of Jerusalem University College back in those days. Something disturbed his sleep. He got up, and his apartment adjoined the library, and he got up and walked in. He turned the lights on, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was startled to see me sitting there. I'd been out of college for a number of years, working for the telephone company, putting up cable, climbing telephone poles, and just trying to make a living for my family until we moved to Israel. So I was used to early rising, and I was used to working hard, and I had to do what I had to do. So sometimes you got up before the cock crow, and you slept across Jerusalem, and you carried your bags, books, and dirty laundry. And I would do the laundry and hang it out on an old clothesline there, just trying to help my wife, because my wife was full bore, pedal to the metal into this. She had to shop at different stores for meat and for dairy because of kosher considerations. She had to get her plasticware and her, home supplies all at different stores. We'd often wait until Shabbat, or the beginning of the Sabbath, till just before Shabbat, and then we would go to the market because we were living so meagerly. I think our budget was $700 total budget per month, and that included rent, it included food, it included travel, it included insurance, health care, everything. And so she learned how to hit those markets right before the Sabbath began, right before Shabbat, when the prices would go down, and sometimes people would even, the vendors would even take their vegetables, knowing that they were going to wilt over the weekend before the shops opened again, and they would throw them over into dumpsters. And so we indeed would look through dumpsters, and we would also get the things that were the cheapest, what was in season, and that's the way that we lived. But God was faithful. Our home church, our sending church, Southside Assembly of God in Jackson, Mississippi, those people got behind us and they prayed for us and they gave to us. And money that came in from my family, from her family, from stuff that we'd saved, cars that people had given to us that we had sold, and then these monthly pieces of support that would come in. I recall on a couple of different occasions, we would sit in the kitchen in our apartment that cost $300 a month in West Jerusalem, in Emek Rephaim, the Valley of Rephaim, and we would put whatever money that we had in cash on the table, and we would divide it out. And I remember one month we had a 5 shekel piece. That amounts to about $1 today, $1.25. One time we had a 10 shekel piece and a couple of agorot. That was all that was left over. And in the beauty of that poverty, we saw the hand of God. We saw Him provide for us on a daily basis. He gave us our daily bread. I give thanks to Him for that. I give praise to Him because He's worthy as an incredible guide, but also as an incredible provider. And I give thanks to a wife who was willing to yoke together with me in the vision of what God would eventually do with us, what He would eventually do through us. And we knew that we were sowing good seed, and we knew that God had called us, and it was light work. These were light burdens. We came home, I remember I weighed 137 pounds when I got off the plane in New York whenever we returned from living in Israel. We lived very meagerly, but God did some incredible things in this city with these people and in this particular area of biblical study. And I'm so proud of what He's done that I want to stop and, if you would like to join me, give thanks to the God of Jerusalem, to give thanks to Jerusalem, the city, and to give thanks to the people of Jerusalem. You know, and I've belabored this point about the difficulties. The land of Israel is difficult. Deuteronomy chapter 11 says, this land is a land that's filled with giants, but stick with God and you'll overcome them. This land is not like the land of Egypt that you came to, where you could simply water your garden with your foot. But this land has to drink its water from the rains of heaven. Yes, this is a difficult land, but let me assure you of this. The price that this land extracted from us, the price that this land will extract from you, should you choose to go and study there, I can guarantee you will be far eclipsed by the goodness, the blessing that this land, this people, this Bible that comes from this place will sow into your life. And that's a guarantee. Happened with me, and it's happened with everybody, thousands of people that I've had the privilege of instructing in the land of the Bible.